welcome to PinkGorillaGames.
PinkGorillaGames in Las Vegas.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Cody and Omri at PinkGorillaGames Las Vegas. And I just thought I'd give them a quick little interview. So, Cody, what are some of the most bizarre or unique games you've seen brought in?
Oh yeah, so some of the more unique ones, we had a copy of Nintendo World Championships traded in. The customer didn't even know what it was, so they were very surprised when I told them we could offer them tens of thousands of dollars for the item that they just found in their closet. That was definitely pretty unique. We've had several prototypes. Our store originates in Seattle, Washington, home of Microsoft and Nintendo of America, so we occasionally run into prototype Xboxes, Nintendo items. It's all sorts of very weird and unique items.
Did you have any you wanted to add?
Oh yeah, we've certainly seen our fair share of bizarre import titles as well. We specialize in also carrying a bunch of Japanese import games across a wide variety of systems. A couple of ones that come to mind is that not so crazy high expensive, but just kind of niche weird little games that you wouldn't think they would make into a game. One thing I clearly remember was a Japanese PlayStation 1 game we got a few years back that was essentially a recreation of their driving test. So, you go to Japan and you take the test to get a driver's license. They made a whole PlayStation 1 game to help you learn how to do that. It's basically like Parappa the Rappa, but nothing fun about it.
Pretty interesting. Didn't know that was a thing. Let's see. Out of everything that's been traded in, have either one of you really wanted to get whatever was traded in? And if so, what was it?
Yeah. So one of the titles that came in recently is called Germs for the PlayStation 1, Japanese title. It's super creepy, super weird, super unique, and incredibly rare. Sells for like over $1,000, so that gives you an idea of the rarity of it, and especially it being from Japan only, right? So we kind of have a policy of like employees aren't allowed to touch anything for 2 weeks, and give the customers a chance to get everything first, right? So yeah, I had to wait around for 2 weeks and hope it stuck around, even myself, the owner, just to be fair to everybody, until finally 2 weeks passed. No one knew what it was. It's that rare. So I was like, yes, finally, it's mine. So yeah, it happens kind of all the time.
Awesome. Cool. What about you?
Yeah, so as you could probably tell, I'm a big-time Doom fan. Doom's one of my all-time favorite game series, all-time favorite games. So I'm always on the lookout for any kind of versions of Doom that show up in the store. Obviously, I'll let the customers have first crack at it, but sometimes you get versions of Doom that you don't normally see come into the store. Probably one of the more well-known ones that I really enjoyed seeing is the Atari Jaguar version of Doom. Came out for a very kind of interesting console back in the mid-90s. One of the first 64-bit systems on the market. Back in there, Doom was so popular they were trying to put Doom on pretty much every single console on that market, including the TV consoles, which was kind of a weird thing at the time, because you wouldn't expect such a popular PC game to make their way onto the home consoles.
Did it not have like the worst music ever?
It had no music. That was the big thing about it. Wow. Yeah, it actually ran very smoothly for a console version of Doom. The trade-off was that they took out the absolutely kick-ass music that is so emblematic of Doom. So it was cool to see it in the wild. It actually came with its box, really cool little tiny Atari Jaguar box. Of course, someone saw it and snapped it up. So it was sad to see it go, but I was happy to see it go to a good home.
I do have one follow-up question
Sure.
for that. Have you ever seen Doom on the SNES come in?
I have seen Doom on the SNES come in. It's in that beautiful blood red cartridge. The interesting thing about that version of Doom was that was one of the versions of Doom that was personally overseen by the main members of id Software. So John Romero. Yeah, thank you. Their personal goal was to get Doom onto a Nintendo console. So they personally oversaw the programming and porting of Doom onto the Super Nintendo system. It runs pretty terribly because the Super Nintendo isn't really capable of playing a game like Doom. But it was a great, huge personal accomplishment for them to be able to have their game on a Nintendo console, because just back in the day in the 90s, Nintendo was everything. Like, Nintendo was the king. So having your game on there was like a dream come true.
So, what would be your favorite system? And if you had to pick 5 games in store that are your favorite, what would they be?
Boy. So, For the stuff we carry in the store, it's a pretty easy answer for me. My all-time favorite system is the Nintendo 64. I will always have a soft spot for that system in my heart because that was the first system I was able to fully buy with my own money as a kid. I did all of the little kid things, mow the lawns, hit up the lemonade stands, all of that standard stuff, and I will always remember walking into that Toys R Us with a big wad of cash and plopping it down, walking out with a big Nintendo 64 box over my head. So I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for the Nintendo 64. I would probably say of the games we have in stock for the Nintendo 64, I'm actually looking at the N64 wall over there. There's several really good US titles and Japanese titles we have, both of which are actually pretty easily playable on the system with a little tweaking. Blast Corps is one of my all-time favorite games. It's a launch title for the N64, a really cool just Destructathon game. Mission Impossible, Turok 2, that's also one of my favorite picks. Of course, Doom 64. That was one of the more unique ports of that game. And then GoldenEye is also another really good pick. And then over there in our rare case, we have one of the most popular games, and it's actually the music for it is playing right now, Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is one of the more unique ones on there. One of the last games to release on the N64, and also one to carry a pretty hefty M rating, which was kind of edgy at the time.
What about you?
I like the PlayStation 2. It just has a crazy variety, and some of my favorite games on there would be like Tony Hawk's Underground. It's like an all-time classic. And Katamari, we love Katamari, especially. It's so good. The Maximo games are pretty fun. Shadow of Colossus, Eco, they're both great. And Final Fantasy X. Yeah.
Final Fantasy X. Good one. Always good. How long has Pink Gorilla Games been in business for? And for the audience at home, can you tell them a bit about Pink Gorilla Games?
Pink Gorilla Games has been around just ever so slightly over 20 years. We just celebrated our 20-year anniversary in April. We've had 3 locations in Seattle for a little while now, and this is our first location outside of Washington State. It's in Las Vegas, a lot easier for a lot of people to get to, and we hope to expand to even more after that. But yeah, it's I've been the owner for, I don't even remember, like 12 years of that. I've been working here like my whole life, basically. I bought it from the original owners who created the store based on very popular game stores like Super Potato in Japan. They went to Japan, they saw all these awesome stores that were like way different than what we had in America, and they wanted to bring the like high quality, cleaned and tested, low prices to America, and that was their idea behind the whole store.
I can say I think they have succeeded. This is pretty impressive.
Thank you.
So, for instance, I like when a retro store will open up a cartridge if it's a really expensive and rare cartridge. So, when shopping for retro games, what do you think a retro store should possibly do? And if they don't, it might be a red flag.
So one of the things that's very important to do when you have a very rare game is making sure the internals of it are legitimate. A lot of times you can tell right from the outside pretty quickly if a game is fake, especially it comes with experience. There's all sorts of like little indicators you can see on the outside of a cartridge that tell you that it's a fake. But what we tell our employees is just be sure, it doesn't take a lot of time. Open up the cartridge and that will tell you for sure. You can compare pictures of the cartridge online to verify if it's real or not. And this one is for sure real. Very legit cartridge there. Even has this company, eStarland. It's another good game store on the East Coast. They even give you a warranty sticker on the inside to show that they looked at it. So I would say, yeah, if a game store, as far as like red flags go, if a game store like refuses to open a cartridge to prove to you that it's real, that's a little weird. I mean, I couldn't really think of a legitimate reason why they wouldn't do that. The only one weird case I could think of, prototype Super Nintendo games used a certain chip that's sensitive to light, so you want to open it in a dark room. That would be the only time. You had a prototype game, that'd be the only time they're like, let's not open it out here in the bright store. But otherwise, they should do that for you every time.
So, Omri, the other day when I came in, you mentioned something about the 3DS and the Japanese games. Would you mind telling the audience what you told me?
Sure, that's right. So many of these systems that you can pick up and play, including the 3DS, they fall under a general category of sorting the games called region compatibility. Sometime in the later era, when more modern systems started showing up, games and systems were being locked out according to the region that they were released in. And during this particular area, on the 3DS era, it was sort of a hybrid mixture of being able to play games from any region, but also being locked out of specific games from a specific region. So in the case of the 3DS, it can play Japanese DS games, which are the games for the previous generation handheld, the Nintendo DS. However, it cannot play Japanese 3DS games. So if you put in a game that's a 3DS cartridge from Japan, the 3DS will return an error message and saying, oh, sorry, this is from a different region, I'm not going to launch the game. But if you put in an older DS cartridge, it's not going to care. It'll just launch like nothing ever happened. There are many systems that do follow this. The later modern systems tend to be a little bit more straightforward. They either tend to be fully region-locked or fully region-free. And then for the even older retro systems, NES, SNES, it's more about the actual shape of the game itself that will determine region compatibility. Since most of these older game systems, the cartridges have completely different shapes in comparison to their Japanese counterparts. However, with a little bit of tweaking, you can get them to work on your US machines. It just requires some slight modifications, but they fully work.
What are some games that have shot up in price that have surprised you? I know NCAA Football 14 was over 100 for the longest time.
Yeah, games prices like spiking. It's a lot of times I attribute it to a popular YouTuber talks about a game, suddenly people are interested in it. Even if they don't even say anything all that positive about it, they're just like, hey, this exists. Boom, people are interested. So there's that, and the other kind of opposite of the way you might think is when a remake is announced, like Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door. As soon as that was announced, the old version of the game almost doubled in price. It was very strange. But that happens it's not strange. That happens all the time. So I guess I would say that nothing super surprises me anymore because we've been around for a long time, but those are the patterns that we see with the games spiking up in price.
Okay. What is the most unique thing you have in store currently, in your opinion?
I'd say the most unique thing we have right now, not Japanese, Saturn copy of Sonic Jam. On the inside are all the inserts, which include some really cute stuff, like an anti-bullying trading card from Sonic. He's like, Sonic says, run away from trouble, stay away from...
And that's no good.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Funny.
So that's more unique. Yeah.
What is your gaming hot take that would set the internet on fire?
Half-Life 3 is never coming out.
Okay. What would yours be?
Elden Ring is overrated.
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right, I'm going to give it to him. Yeah.
That would set it on
Don't
fire.
look at the comments.
All right. And then, for those of you interested, here's where you can find Pink Gorilla Games.
Yeah, we have our main account, Pink Gorilla Games, on Instagram. We also have Pink Gorilla Las for our specific Las Vegas store, where we'll show off all the new trade-ins that come in and whatever else fun stuff is happening.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, this has been Cody and Omari with Pink Gorilla Games. And thank you for watching my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.